I eat one meal a day, drink one coffee, and eat like 3-4 bags of candy.
Some of these gridiron giants own the field, but y'all wouldn't believe the grub they put away. Take J.J. Watt, that defensive wrecking ball who'd inhale nigh on 9,000 calories every single day just to keep his engine running. Tell you the truth, I'm chowing down about 7 or 8 times twixt sunup and sundown. Then there's Patrick
the MVP
Mahomes,
quarterback whose ketchup obsession and late-night snack habits are as legendary as his
ketchup
throws.
and
These are the
midnight
NFL players
munchies
whose
is
eating
as
habits are
famous as
exposed.
his touchdown passes. Here's the lowdown on the wildest dinner plates in the NFL.
J.J.
Let's talk
Watt
about
wasn't just another
J.J.
defensive lineman.
Watt.
He was a force of
Now, Watt wasn't just some run-of-the-mill lineman.
Houston
That man
Texans
was a
in
natural
2011.
disaster waiting
Watt
to happen.
quickly.
The Houston Texans snatched him up 11th overall back in 2011, and quicker than a hiccup, he became the face of the franchise and the scariest defender folks ever laid eyes on.
He won 3 Defensive Player of the Year
mostly
awards,
down in Houston,
finished as
collecting
MVP runner-up,
3 Defensive
and rewrote
Player
the
of
Texans'
Year
record
trophies,
books in sacks
nearly
and
winning
forced fumbles.
MVP, and rewriting the history books for sacks and fumbles. When he was in his prime, Watt wasn't just halting the offense. He was single-handedly tearing their game plans into confetti. Coordinators lost sleep, quarterbacks shook in their cleats, and the fans watched him like it was the greatest show on earth. But staying on top of the mountain took more than just sweat and grit
a lot
in
of
the gym. It took fuel, friend, a whole heap of it. Like I said, I'm fixing a plate 7 or 8 times a day. Behind closed doors, JJ cooked up one of the craziest feeding schedules in the league. Come game
calories
season,
per
he was
day,
putting away
spread across 6
6,000
meals,
and
2
9,000
breakfasts,
calories
2 lunches,
daily,
and 2 dinners.
split into 6
He ate
squares,
roughly
2
every
breakfasts,
90 minutes,
2 lunches,
not because he
and
wanted
2
to,
suppers,
but
he was feeding his face bout every hour and a half. Not because he had a hankering for it, but because his massive frame required it. The whole thing was built on eggs.
toast,
Sometimes
fruit,
he'd crack a
and
whole
peanut
dozen
butter.
in a day,
Chicken
washed
breasts
down with oatmeal,
followed,
toast,
often
fruit,
ate
and
in
peanut
a
butter.
single.
Then came the chicken breasts, usually wolfed down all at once, alongside pasta, yams, fish, avocados, and enough milk to float a boat. But there came a time when Watt realized his engine was sputtering, even though he was following the manual. He was feeling slower than molasses uphill. His coach told him straight up it wasn't lack of trying, it was the fat. Watt admitted it was plain tiresome.
Force-feeding himself food all day long, even when he wasn't hungry,
when he was
part
full
of the
as a
sacrifice.
tick.
He treated meals like
part of
workouts,
the price
mandatory,
he paid.
repetitive.
He looked at supper like a bench press, mandatory, repetitive, and mentally grueling. After he hung up his
admitting
cleats
that
in
continuing to
2022,
eat like an NFL
Watt
defensive
finally
end
cut back,
would destroy his
reckoning
health.
that eating
Moving
like a
on,
linebacker
we have a
forever
player
would put
whose
him in an
eating
early
habits will
grave.
shock you.
Now, moseying along, we got a fella whose appetite will make your jaw drop, Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata was never meant to be
grew
on
up
this side
playing
of the pond.
rugby.
Born down under, that boy grew up smashing folks in rugby, not playing gridiron.
Played
Matter
a
of
single
fact,
down
before
of football
2018,
at any level.
he hadn't played a
He
single
barely
snap
knew
of
the
football
rules
in his life.
He watched one
Scarcely knew
NFL
the
game a
rules from
year,
a hole in the ground.
Super Bowl.
He only tuned in for one game a year, and that was the Super Bowl. I was sitting there wondering what was going to give out first. But standing 6'8" and tipping the scales well over 350 pounds, he caught the eye of them NFL scouts via the international program. The Philadelphia Eagles rolled the dice big time, picking him in the 7th round of the 2018 draft, knowing full well they were getting a raw project, not a finished product. What happened next is one of the wildest yarns in modern football history. Mailata spent
that
years
felt like
learning
a foreign
the ropes
language.
from scratch.
Injuries
buried in
slowed his
playbooks
early
that might as well
progress,
have been
but when he
written in
finally
Martian.
stepped
Getting banged up slowed him down a mite at the start.
onto
But when he
the
finally hit
field
the turf in 2020, the light bulb
it
went on.
clicked.
Come 2021, he was the main man at left tackle for the Eagles.
Lineman
And by
in football.
2024,
and in
he was walking in high
2025,
cotton as
Mailata
one of
became the
richest
first
linemen in
Australian
the
to
game.
start and win.
Come 2025, Mailata etched his name in the stars as the first Aussie to saddle up and start a Super Bowl, holding down that Eagles line tighter than a bull rider during their Super Bowl 59 victory. Folks used to say he was a long shot, but he turned into the main pillar of the barn, a genuine human wrecking ball if I ever saw one. But feeding a furnace that size, that takes something downright wild. When the curtains close, Jordan Mailata sticks to a chow routine that's tighter than a tick on a hound dog and steeped in superstition. Then I'm moseying right next door to hit up the pasta station. The pasta
This is the same
station,
meal that I've
you
had for
hear?
the last 5 years.
I've been wolfing down this same grub for 5 long years running.
To maintain
keep
his
that
massive
mountain
frame,
of a man
he consumes an
upright.
estimated
He puts
6,000
away about
calories per day, but it's his
6,000
game week
calories
meals that
every
stand out.
single day.
The night before,
But it's the vittles he eats during game week that'll really make your jaw drop.
dinner.
Every single
No
night before
exceptions.
showdown, my
One
Mailata sits
entire
down to the
box
exact
of
same
bow tie
supper.
pasta
no ifs,
loaded
ands,
with
or
shrimp,
buts. A whole crate of bow tie pasta, swimming with shrimp, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, and a cheesy rosé sauce that'd make you slap your mama.
Spinach,
Plus
sun-dried tomatoes,
steak,
and a cheesy
3
rosé
slabs
sauce,
of
a
garlic
20-ounce
bread,
steak,
and
3
a
pieces
Sprite
of garlic
to wash
bread,
it all
and a
down.
Sprite.
Come game day morning, things don't slow down one bit. He
Spinach,
kicks things off
mushrooms,
with an 8-egg omelet
cheese,
stuffed to the
and
gills
sometimes
with spinach,
avocado.
mushrooms,
That's
cheese,
followed by
and maybe
4
an
to 8
avocado if he's
pancakes,
feeling fancy.
depending on the...
Then he stacks up 4 to 8 pancakes depending on how big they are and chases it with a glass of orange juice.
While eating,
he's chowing
he even
down,
receives an IV
he's even
drip to
got
stay
an
hydrated.
IV drip
Next
hooked
up,
just
we
to
have a
keep the
player with
fluids
one of the
flowing.
strangest...
Now, let's talk about a fellow with eating habits stranger than a 2-headed calf, DK Metcalf.
Seattle
DK
Seahawks
Metcalf
in
was built to turn
2019.
heads from the get-go.
He immediately...
When the Seattle Seahawks picked him up in the second round back in 2019, he didn't look like any other wide receiver in the whole league. Standing 6'4" and tipping the scales at 235
he
pounds of pure
overwhelmed
muscle and lightning
defensive
speed,
backs.
Metcalf didn't
His
just run
viral
routes. He flat-out bulldozed those defensive backs. His 4.33 40-yard dash at the combine went viral faster than gossip in a small town. And that time he ran down Budda Baker like a cheetah chasing a gazelle. Legendary stuff right there. Over 6 seasons up in Seattle, he was
earning
reliable
multiple
as a
Pro
sunrise,
Bowl selections,
snagging Pro Bowl spots,
an All-Pro
nod,
and
racking
several
up 1,000-yard
seasons
left
left
and right. By 2025, everyone knew he was gold, leading to a monster trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers and a paycheck big enough to choke a mule. On the gridiron, Metcalf is what peak performance looks like. But off the field, his dinner plate tells a whole nother tale.
Protein timing and strict nutrition plans. Metcalf shocked fans when he revealed what he actually eats in a day. During the height of his Seahawks career, Metcalf followed a routine that...
Back in his prime with the Seahawks, his routine was bordering on straight-up unbelievable.
Lifting and running without eating any food, no breakfast,
twice,
no lunch,
lifting
just
and
one
running
coffee
on an
from
empty
Starbucks
stomach
to carry him through the
nothing
first
but a
half of the
single
day.
Starbucks
By mid to late
coffee
afternoon,
power
around
him till
4:30
noon.
p.m.
Come mid-afternoon, round 4:30 or so.
Chicken,
That's when his
but
real
candy.
engine started.
Usually
kicked
3 to
in.
4
We ain't talking steak or chicken, folks. We're talking candy.
Skittles,
Usually 3 or 4
lifesavers, and
bags
similar
of gummies.
sugar-packed snacks.
Skittles,
I eat 1 meal a
lifesavers,
day,
just
drink
loads
1
of
coffee,
sugar-packed snacks.
and eat like...
I eat 1 square meal, drink 1 coffee, and polish off 3 or 4 bags of candy.
His first and only real meal of the day came around 8 or 9 p.m. Typically a normal dinner before going to sleep.
Just a regular dinner right before hitting the hay.
Nutritionists
Those
were
nutrition
stunned.
experts
Social
were
media
absolutely
exploded with disbelief
flabbergasted.
that one of...
Social media went wild. Couldn't believe a fella that ripped could survive on nothing but sugar and caffeine.
Crediting
Metcalf
genetics,
himself said
elite
folks
training,
shouldn't try
and
this at
knowing his
home,
own body.
chalking it up to good
Eventually,
genes,
Metcalf
hard work,
slightly
and
adjusted
knowing
the
his own
routine,
machinery.
adding a second...
Eventually, he tweaked things a bit, added a second meal, and cut the candy, cause mamas were complaining their young'uns were copying him.
with a
Next
bizarre
up on the
chocolate
docket,
habit.
we got a player famous
Marshawn
for his
Lynch.
bizarre love affair
Marshawn
with
Lynch
chocolate.
wasn't just a
Marshawn Lynch.
running
Marshawn
back.
Lynch wasn't just a running
He
back.
was an
He was a whole mood
attitude.
walking. Picked up first round by the Buffalo Bills in 2007, Lynch proved quick he was a bruising runner who didn't take no guff from nobody.
That
It wasn't
his
until he
legend
got shipped up
truly
north to
formed.
Seattle back
In
in 2010
Seattle,
that the
Lynch
man truly
became the
a
face
myth.
of the
Up there in Hawk Country, he turned into the heart and soul of that outfit, earning the name Beast Mode by running through folks like a runaway freight train. Good Lord Almighty, look at that man go! The fella topped the charts in rushing scores twice, made 5 Pro Bowls, and brought that city its very first Super Bowl ring in number 48. That
Broke
67-yard
9
earthquake of a
tackles.
run, where he
Didn't
shed
just
9
win a
tacklers like
playoff
Duff,
game.
didn't just win the game, it
shook
registered on the
the
dang
stadium.
seismograph. His whole career was forged in grit, iron-jawed toughness, and a special brand of organized mayhem.
How
And
he
wouldn't you
ate.
know it,
Behind
that
the
wild
scenes,
spirit showed
Marshawn
up right
Lynch
on his
developed
dinner
one
plate,
of the
too.
most
When the cameras were off, Marshawn had himself a fixin' that became the stuff of football folklore. He wasn't guzzling
It was
protein
Skittles.
shakes or counting
Lynch
calories.
famously ate them on
this
the
hoss ran on
sideline
straight
during
sugar
games.
Skittles. You'd catch him snacking on them right there on the sideline, usually after plowing into the end zone, swearing they gave him his giddy-up.
Often
He
after
liked to
touchdowns,
call them
and credited
little
them for giving him
candies,
energy.
his
He called
power
them his power
pellets.
pellets.
Can you imagine telling a locker room full of grown men, "Hey boys, eat some candy and you'll play like an all-star"?
Other
It
would
all
hand him
started
Skittles
back
before
when he was
games
a knee-high,
and tell him they'd
with
make
his
him run
mama
faster.
handing him
Lynch
sweets
never
and
stopped
promising
believing
they'd
it.
put
Once
lightning
cameras
in
caught
his
him
boots.
casually.
And that boy never quit believing her gospel. The
Tradition
moment the TV
exploded.
cameras caught him
Seahawks
chomping on him during
fans
a
began
game,
throwing
the whole
bags
thing
of
went off like a
Skittles
bottle
onto the
rocket.
field.
Folks in the stands started chucking bags of the rainbow stuff onto the field every time he scored.
signed
got
into an
so
endorsement
big
deal,
the candy
blurring the
company
line between
cut him a
superstition
check,
and marketing.
mixing
But Lynch's
good luck
relationship with
charms
food wasn't
big
always fun or
business.
flashy.
But don't go thinking his history with food was all sunshine and sugar.
He once admitted that during
confessed
difficult
that
times
back in
earlier
the
in
hard
life,
times,
he ate cereal contaminated with
cereal
cockroaches,
with
not out of
bugs in
ignorance,
it, not
but as a
because he
reminder of
didn't
how
know
far he'd
better,
come
but
and how
to
far he
remind
never wanted to
himself
fall again.
just how
On the other
far
hand,
he'd
we have a
climbed
player
out
who
of the
followed a
mud.
strictly.
Now on the flip side, you got a fella living on rabbit food, but what he got caught eating in 2024 raised some eyebrows. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers was
got
drafted in the
picked
first
up
round by the Green Bay Packers in 2005, and he spent 3 seasons waiting behind Brett Favre before finally taking over in 2008.
Once he did,
the league never looked the same.
And once he saddled up, the game was never the same again.
Most
For
efficient
nigh on
careers in
2
NFL history,
decades,
4
he put
MVP
together
awards,
one of the
a Super Bowl
sharpest
XLV
careers
victory,
this league's
an MVP
ever
performance.
seen. Walked away with 4 MVP trophies, a ring from Super Bowl 45, and a touchdown-to-interception ratio that defies all logic.
Patience
Season
and an
after
almost
season,
unnatural
he sliced
calm
up
in the
defenses
pocket.
like
At
a
his
hot
peak,
knife through
Rodgers
butter,
didn't
cool
rely
as
on
a
brute
cucumber
force.
in that
He
pocket.
relied on
In his prime, he wasn't trying to muscle his way through folks.
far beyond
was all
the field,
about control
straight into
for
his
him,
diet.
and that
Unlike
mindset
linemen who
went
eat to
straight
survive
from the
mass,
gridiron
Rodgers
to his
ate to reduce
kitchen table.
inflammation.
Unlike them big uglies up front eating to stay heavy, Rodgers ate to keep the swelling down.
Early in his
Starting
career,
out,
he followed a loose
he
80-20 rule.
stuck
He
to a
cleaned most of
loose
the time, enjoyed cheat
80-20
meals occasionally,
rule,
but his
kept it clean mostly, but still enjoyed a cheat meal when the mood struck. But when the
Longer.
aches and pains
That
started stacking up,
approach
he had to change his
changed.
tune. He got downright fanatical about what he was putting in his belly,
and
kicked
shifted
dairy
toward a
and
mostly
gluten to the
plant-based
curb,
diet,
ditched
with
the
occasional
coffee,
red meat or
and started
chicken.
eating
Rodgers said the
mostly
goal
plant
wasn't
with
weight
just a
loss,
smidgen
it
of
was
meat
longevity.
here and there. After he claimed it wasn't about getting skinny, it was about staying in the game longer.
Inflammation
After they
and
fixed up
recovery,
his knee,
working
he
closely with
watched every
nutritionists
bite
to
to heal
fine-tune
up
every
faster.
meal. The
Hearing
result was a
folks to
noticeably
plan his
leaner
supper
frame.
down
At
to the
around
last
218,
Sure enough, the man leaned out something fierce.
playing
Dropped
weights
down to
since the
218 or
mid-2000s.
20 pounds.
He believed
lightest he'd
eating
been since
cleaner
he was a
didn't
rookie.
just help.
He reckoned that clean living sharpened his mind, smoothed out his moves, and got him back on his feet quicker come Monday morning. But even Rodgers
despite his
had
disciplined,
his
almost
moments
clinical
of
approach to
weakness.
nutrition.
For all that discipline, the man admitted he's got a sweet tooth the size of Texas.
Awful.
Ice cream,
Even while cutting
candy,
dairy for performance
waffles,
reasons,
you
he
name
never
it.
pretended.
Even while quitting milk for football, he never claimed to be a saint about it.
Nationally
Then came
televised
that moment the
game
internet
in
ain't ever gonna let him live
2024.
down. On national TV in 2024, cameras caught him digging around his nose and then going in for a taste.
The
And quicker than a
sideline.
hiccup, social media
However,
lit up like a
Rodgers
Christmas tree.
denied.
Folks caught him digging for gold on the sidelines and having himself a little snack. Though Rodgers, bless his heart, swore up and down that never happened. Moving right along, let's talk about a fella who put away grub like he was stocking up for the apocalypse. Big old Matt Lillard. Way back in 2012, the Vikings spent the 4th overall pick on him, figuring he was the surest bet in the draft to protect the blind side.
Athletic
He came out of
testing
USC
numbers
moving
and a
like
pedigree
gazelle
that
for a
screamed
6'7"
long-term
giant,
franchise
posting
cornerstone.
numbers that'd make
As a
your
rookie,
jaw drop
he delivered
and look at
exactly
every
that.
bit the franchise
Starting every
savior.
game,
Rookie year, he did exactly what it said on the tin, started every game, punched a ticket to the Pro Bowl, and made the all-rookie squad. At just 23, Khalil looked brighter than a new penny, ready to anchor that offensive line for a decade. But surviving as a left tackle in this league ain't just about fancy footwork. It's a war of attrition requiring mass and muscle, and that's where Khalil found himself in a real dogfight. Not under the squat rack, mind you, but sitting at the dinner table. The man's metabolism ran hotter than a $2 pistol.
Fall.
If he skipped the feed bag for even a couple days, he'd wither away, dropping 5 to 7 pounds in a single weekend. Just to
Khalil
keep his
had to
britches
eat
fitting right at
constantly.
310
During his
or
NFL
15
years,
pounds, he
Khalil
had to graze
consumed
like cattle all day
5,000
long.
to 6,000.
While he was playing, Khalil was shoveling down 5 to 6,000 calories every single sunup to sundown.
He
Didn't
ate every
matter
2
if his
hours,
belly
whether
was
he was
full.
hungry or not.
Every 2
3
hours,
massive meals
he was
anchored the
chowing
day,
down
surrounded by
again.
snacks.
3 giant feasts anchored his day, with a never-ending parade of snacks and shakes filling in the cracks.
Protein
He'd knock
shakes
back
were
3
essential,
protein
up to
shakes
3 per
daily,
day, each packing
one
around
heavy as
800
lead,
calories
with
and 60
800
grams of
calories
protein.
and
Peanut
60
butter and jelly
grams of
sandwiches
protein.
filled the gap.
Good old peanut butter and jelly sandwiches plugged any holes left in his stomach. He
Formed
built a
the
foundation
base
on
of his
piles of oatmeal,
meals.
eggs,
Dinner
bacon,
could
taters,
include a
lean
12-ounce
meats, and enough
steak,
pasta to feed an
mashed
army. Supper might be a 12-ounce steak with all the fixins, sausages, sushi, garlic bread, and a shake thicker than mud clocking in at 1,200 calories all by itself.
Worried he
Poor
might
fella
throw up,
admitted
but he kept eating
felt
anyway.
like heaven
Because
half
if he
the
didn't,
time,
his
but he
body would
kept
betray him.
swallowing
Next
because
up,
if he
we have a
stopped,
player whose
his body
extreme
would just
diet
turn
helped
on him.
fuel.
Now, turn your eyes to a legend whose strange eating habits kept him playing till he was gray. None other than Tom Brady. By all rights, that man shouldn't have lasted half as long as he did.
He entered the league as an afterthought, a skinny backup from Michigan with average arm strength.
Just a scrawny kid from Michigan with a noodle arm and about as much buzz as a dead fly. What happened next turned out to be the finest greatest career in football history. Over 23 seasons, he bagged 7 Super Bowl rings, 5 MVPs in the big game, 3 league MVPs, and carried 2 whole franchises on his back.
He ruled in his 40s and redefined what longevity in the NFL even meant, while defenses aged, Brady didn't.
And everyone else got creaky and retired, but Brady just kept on ticking. And tell you what,
and
that
at the
weren't
center
no stroke
of it
luck.
was
It was a whole way of living.
of the
And right at the heart of it
and
was what he put on
strangest
his
diets.
plate. Behind closed doors, Brady cooked up the strictest, weirdest diet the sports world ever laid eyes on. He called
was
it
built
the
around one core
TB12
belief:
method.
inflammation
and it all
is
boiled
the
down
enemy.
to one
To fight it,
notion.
Brady
Inflammation
eliminated
is the
huge
devil.
portions.
To beat it, he cut out just about everything normal folks enjoy eating.
Alcohol,
Quit dairy,
no iodized
sugar,
salt,
flour,
and most
caffeine,
famously,
booze,
no nightshade.
salt, and
That meant
famously
no tomatoes,
anything they call a
peppers,
nightshade.
mushrooms.
That means saying goodbye to tomatoes, peppers, mushrooms, eggplant, and even your basic white taters. Heck,
Roughly
for
80%
years
of Brady's
he wouldn't
diet
even
was
look at a
plant-based, focused on
strawberry.
organic.
About 80% of his chow was plants, organic, kale, broccoli, spinach, sweet taters, stuff he swore kept his body balanced. The other 20%
salmon,
was lean
organic
meat,
chicken,
like wild
and
salmon,
grass-fed steak.
organic chicken,
Meals were
and steak
clean,
from cows
repetitive,
that ate nothing
and
but grass.
intentionally.
His suppers were clean, repeated day in and day out, and duller than dishwater on purpose. Breakfast was
and
usually just a
protein
smoothie
powder.
with banana, almond
Lunch
milk,
and dinner
nuts,
followed a
seeds, and some
strict
powder.
form.
Lunch and dinner stuck to a script tighter than a drum. A
Protein
slab
the size
meat
of his
barely
palm,
the size
vegetables
of your
filling the rest of the
palm,
plate.
with greens
Even how he drank
crowding
water was
every
controlled.
other inch
Brady
of the
avoided
plate.
drinking water.
Shoot. The man even had strict rules for how he sipped his water.
Eating
Brady
and
wouldn't touch
waiting
a
an
drop
hour
during supper,
after.
quitting 30
Believing
minutes
it
before
helped
he ate and waiting a
digestion.
full hour after.
He stopped
swearing
eating
it
when he
helped
felt
his belly
about
settle.
70.
He'd push away the table when he was about 3/4 full and wouldn't eat a crumb within 3 hours of hitting the hay. And dessert? If he had it, you weren't seeing no pecan pie or chocolate cake. It was some strange avocado ice cream concoction.
Occasional
Now, don't go thinking the fella was built
indulgences,
out of metal
a
and
slice
wires. He'd fess up to sneaking a treat every blue moon.
Only
Maybe
if
a
it
slice
was
of pizza
the
or a
best
strip
version.
of bacon. But
Up
only
next,
if it was the
we have a
finest
player
kind you
whose
could find.
obsession.
Next up, we got a gunslinger with a sauce addiction that'll make your jaw hit the floor.
Quarterback
That boy,
of the
Patrick
Kansas City
Mahomes.
Chiefs.
Now, Mahomes ain't just the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's the spark behind
lightning
one of the
bolt
NFL's most
spark in one of the
electrifying
wildest
offenses. Drafted
defenses
10th overall in
this league has
2017,
ever seen.
Mahomes spent his
Picked 10th back in 2017, he spent his rookie year riding the pine behind Alex Smith, learning how the sausage gets made. Come
over
2018,
5,000 passing
he grabbed
yards,
the reins
50
and tore
touchdowns,
the rule
and an
book into
MVP award
confetti.
in his
Threw for over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, snagging MVP honors right out of the gate.
straight
Since
AFC
then,
championship
he's dragged
games,
that
5
team
Super
to 7
Bowls,
straight
and 3
AFC
Lombardi
title
trophies.
fights,
Defenses
5
scramble,
Super Bowls,
offensive
and
coordinators
hoisted
panic,
3
and
Lombardi
fans
trophies.
watch like
Defenses run round like headless chickens, coaches sweat bullets, and the fans watch like it's pure voodoo. But you can't
Mahomes'
make that kind of
diet
magic happen
isn't
on
what
an
you'd
empty tank.
expect.
Thing is, Mahomes eats like a teenager left home alone, not some generational superstar.
Portion
Forget
plates.
counting
Mahomes
every
eats
calorie
4 to 5
or
meals a
weighing
day,
food on a little
breakfast,
scale.
lunch, and
This hoss puts away 4 to 5 square meals a day.
There.
Breakfast,
Salmon,
lunch, and yeah,
grilled
he
chicken,
eats dinner more than
quinoa.
once. But that's about where the plan falls apart.
Foundation.
Sure, he gets
Yes,
his salmon,
but alongside
chicken,
that is a
sweet
constant
taters,
parade
and
of
veggies in there
indulgences.
somewhere.
And then
But right alongside the healthy stuff is a non-stop parade of junk.
ketchup
And folks,
is
we gotta
legendary.
talk about the
he
ketchup.
puts it on
The man's love for ketchup is the stuff of legend.
barbecue,
He slathers it on steak,
even
eggs,
ice cream.
mac and
As
cheese,
a kid,
turkey,
he
barbecue,
ate ketchup
shoot,
sandwiches,
even ice cream.
plain
When he was just a little tyke, he used to eat ketchup sandwiches.
plain
Just
ketchup.
plain
He
white
calls it
bread
disgusting,
and a
yet
big
it became
glob
a
of
lifelong
red
obsession.
sauce.
He
reckons it's nasty now, but he just can't seem to quit it.
cementing
He
the
even
condiment
shook
as part of his
hands with a
brand.
ketchup
Late night
brand,
snacking, takes it
making
even
that
further.
bottle
Doritos,
part of his whole
specifically
image.
spicy
And his midnight snacking? Lord, it gets even wilder.
gummies,
Spicy
ice
sweet
cream
chili
cones,
Doritos,
Chipotle
Starbursts,
burrito bowls,
gummy
and Chick-fil-A
candies,
chicken
ice cream
biscuits.
cones.
He's part
burrito
owner of
bowls,
Whataburger,
and them
so
chicken
fast
biscuits from
food isn't
Chick-fil-A.
off limits.
He owns a piece of Whataburger, so you know he ain't shy about fast food. Game day is a whole ritual.
And
Starts
of course,
with a grilled
ketchup.
chicken sandwich,
Hydration comes
fries,
from
and a
Gatorade,
river of
Powerade.
ketchup. Washes it down with Gatorade, fancy water, and a shot of pickle juice if his legs get tight.
But in
Now,
a way,
flip
no
the
one
coin
expects.
and you got a player who
Jalen
eats
Hurts.
clean, but keeps
Jalen
folks
Hurts
guessing.
isn't just the
Jalen Hurts. Jalen ain't just calling signals for them Philadelphia Eagles. He is the big motor driving, one of the most dangerous machines in the NFL. Drafted in the second round back in 2020, Hurts took the wheel near the end of his first season. By 2022, he steered Philly to the top of the heap and a spot in Super Bowl 57, earning all kinds of honors. 2 years later, he went and won
known
Super Bowl
for his
59,
mobility,
walking
arm
away
strength,
with the
and
MVP
calm
trophy
under
to boot.
pressure.
Now, Jalen Hurts ain't just playing ball. He's orchestrating a masterpiece out there, mixing legs that can scoot, a cannon of an arm, and ice water in his veins to keep defenses scrambling like chickens in a storm.
Hurts combines a dual threat skill set with a football
sharp
IQ
as a
that consistently keeps
takes a
defenses
whole
on their
lot
heels.
more
Maintaining
than
that level of
just
performance requires
God-given
more than talent.
It takes high-octane fuel to run that engine, so every morning he kicks things off with a no-nonsense spread of eggs, turkey, bacon, fresh fruit, and maybe a bite of toast or taters if he's feeling fancy. Come midday,
without
he keeps it light on his feet with a
down
Caesar or Cobb salad, so he ain't dragging wagon when practice starts up. You're talking a heap of fish, a solid slab of steak, and plenty of bird to round it out. That covers all your bases right there. But supper, that's the main event, where he piles that plate high with lean meats, fish, chicken, or steak sitting right alongside a mess of greens.
Rotates in
been
carbs
burning
like
daylight
rice,
hard,
quinoa,
he'll toss
or sweet
in some
potatoes.
rice,
Hydration is
quinoa,
constant,
or sweet
mostly
taters
water,
to keep the
but also
fire stoked.
supplemented with.
And the man drinks water like he's saving it for a drought, mixing in protein shakes and electrolytes to keep from running dry.
Southern
Even with all that
upbringing
discipline,
and comfort
you can't
food
take the South
indulgences.
out of the boy.
Crawfish,
His diet
prepared
still
in
tips
a
hat
family
to that
recipe.
down-home cooking
Fried
he was
chicken
raised on.
fresh from the.
We're talking spicy crawfish boiled up just like his kinfolks taught him. Every
Particularly
now and
butter
then,
pecan
he rewards
appear
himself
as
with
occasional
fried chicken
rewards.
straight out the grease.
He'll also
and a big
enjoy
old scoop
classic
of
chicken
Bluebell
meals
butter
with
pecan,
red
pure heaven.
beans.
After whipping an opponent, he celebrates with classic chicken and red beans, a slice of apple pie, or a tall glass of cold lemonade. For snacking,
to maintain
he's popping
energy
sunflower
between
seeds like an
meals.
old baseball
What
pro
makes Hurts
and chugging
eating
shakes
stand
to keep
out
his
is
energy
the
from dipping
balance.
between meals.
He doesn't.
The thing about Hurts is, he knows how to walk that line between business and pleasure. He don't go hog
flavor
wild,
or tradition.
but he sure ain't
Moving
giving up
on,
the flavor and
we have a
tradition of
player
his
whose
roots neither.
Instagram.
Now, let's shift gears to a fella who nearly broke the internet with his curious supper habits, Kirk Cousins.
By
Old
Washington
Kirk got
in
picked up by
2012,
Washington in
and
the
he spent
fourth
his
round
early
back in
years backing up
2012.
Robert Griffin.
Spent his early days holding the clipboard for Robert Griffin III before finally grabbing the reins in 2015. He
And
steered
earned a
that
Pro
ship to a
Bowl
division
nod
title,
in
rewrote the record
2017.
books,
After
and earned
franchise
himself a Pro Bowl
tag
spot
stints,
by 2017.
Cousins joined the.
After dancing around with franchise tags, he headed up to Minnesota in 2018 on a guaranteed $84 million ticket, racking up stats and Pro Bowls like it was nothing. Come
Contract
2024,
with the Atlanta Falcons,
he inked a monster
quickly
four-year
becoming
deal
a
worth
central figure in their
$180 million
offense,
with the Atlanta
though his
Falcons,
first season
becoming the big
included
boss
ups
of that
and downs.
offense. Even though it's been a bumpy ride with injuries and benchings, the man's known for threading the needle, and that need for precision follows him right into the kitchen.
Highly
When nobody's
customized
looking, Cousins
and
eats with
occasionally
the discipline
quirky.
of a saint,
Inspired
tailored
by
just for
Tom
him,
Brady,
though
he
folks might
follows
call
a
it
mostly
might
grain-free
peculiar.
and.
Taking a page out of Tom Brady's book, he steers clear of grains and inflammation, triggers no wheat, no corn, no dairy, and he even shuns green beans because his blood work told him to.
Turkey
Mostly,
and lean
he sticks
beef,
to the straight and
alongside
narrow,
fruits
lean
and
beef,
vegetables.
chicken,
But
fish,
Cousins'
and
approach
turkey,
has
with a side of
eccentricities.
garden
He
pickings.
famously.
But this is where old Kirk gets a little bit odd. The man
that has
literally
become a
peels
running
his burger
joke
buns
among
to dodge the
fans.
gluten, which has folks chuckling all over the internet. I've been fixing to stop at this here cookout on the drive home. Y'all reckon we should give it a go? Talking 'bout fresh burgers right off the grill. I reckon we ain't got much of a choice. Back in 2018, he posted a picture of his grillin' that had everybody scratching their heads in confusion. The grayish, unseasoned gray as a winter
almost
sky
inedible,
and dry
prompting
as a bone.
guesses ranging from
Folks
tuna
couldn't
to
tell
rocks.
if it was
Cousins
tuna
later
fish or
adjusted his
river
technique,
rocks.
but kept.
Kirk eventually learned how to work a grill properly, but he kept at it, proving he's just as particular about his charcoal as he is his passin'.
He also
He
enjoys
loves
turkey
gnawing
legs
on
after
a turkey
victories
leg
and indulges in
after a
fast
big
food
win
like
and
Shake Shack
sneaking
or
some
Cookout,
Shake Shack
blending
or
strict
Cookout,
discipline with
mixing
occasional
that
comfort
strict
foods.
living
Let
with
us
a
know your
little
thoughts
bit
in the
of
comment
guilty
section.
pleasure.
And before you
Y'all holler at us in the comments and tell us what you think.
And
before you
subscribe to
skedaddle,
NFL
smash that like
Rivals
button and
so you don't
subscribe
miss
to
the
NFL
next
Facts
ones.
so you don't miss out on the next hoedown.